So crypto influencers around the world have been sounding the alarm about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. But what if the government issued stablecoins don't call themselves CBDCs? Will you be able to recognize the difference between a, let's say, decentralized stablecoin or even a centralized stablecoin, fiat-backed stablecoin versus something that is issued by a government? Can you tell? That's what we're talking about in today's video. If you guys enjoy these updates and what we have to say about crypto, hit the like button and you got to hit subscribe because we're putting out videos every single day. Just yesterday, the video before, Toby enlightened us all on what's happening with easiest way to lose money in crypto, who you should not be listening to, what you should be aware of governments around the world and the currencies, the IMF, all that good stuff or bad stuff. But to be aware is always a good idea. So that's also going into what today's video is, being aware of stable coins versus CBDCs. I don't know if the mic caught that up, but that was an interesting horn. So yeah, I'm saying this because Australia is saying that they're coming out with their own stable coin. It's not a stable coin, it is a CBDC. It is run and issued by a government. Some people think that brings some validation. Some people thinks that brings some comfort, some, guarantee of some sort, as if we aren't failed by the fiat system every single day. Some countries more than others, Egypt especially being one of those, unfortunately. So that's where we're filming from, by the way, Luxor Temple, the museum here in Luxor, Egypt. But anyway, getting into this point of, can you tell the difference between a independently issued stablecoin versus one that's brought to you by a government? One key takeaway that is going to be an obvious one is the usability and interoperability of what you can do with that crypto. There will be limitations for anything issued by a government. They don't want to give you too much freedom. They won't be able to let you store it on any wallet that you want, or maybe even take full custody over it at all. Maybe you have to keep it on a centralized exchange or a centralized platform of some sort, because there's not going to be any private keys. A CBDC is not a public blockchain like we are so used to with Bitcoin, for example. Oh, no. It's going to be completely private and completely controlled. They can shut it on and off whenever they want to. I did the video back in France about a month ago talking about how USDC, for example, is an independently issued stablecoin, but they are definitely working with governments, specifically in the US, to be kind of an example of what their stablecoin could be, because they can shut it on and off, and they've proven that time and again. So has Tether, by the way. So there's no perfect stablecoin, but when we're talking about a CBDC, again, don't think of freedom. Don't think of transparency, don't think of privacy, and those are going to become apparent. And the main takeaway here is, yes, there's so much benefit to being an early investor in crypto, just monetarily, but what's even more important and will become even more apparent is if you are early in this tech, and if you have any understanding of what's really going on and how to recognize it, you will be far ahead of anyone whose first experience of crypto is going to be through a CBDC. You're going to understand how to protect yourself, how to maintain your freedom as best you can. And the importance of being an early adopter is much more than just financial gain at this point. It's about ensuring your freedom and survival, really. So keep that in mind. If you want to keep up to date, you got to check us out on our CT Club as well, what we're doing with our cryptocurrencies and why, which CBDCs we will not have exposure to. And again, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you later. Still here.